Hey everybody, what I wanted to talk with you about today are the 5 top things that I don't like about this Mahindra tractor. This is not a broad stroke of the brush on all Mahindra tractors. This is just my Mahindra tractor. I am not saying that every Mahindra tractor, every model tractor, every year has these problems. And these are also just my opinions. So what works for me may not work for you and vice versa. So again, I am not bashing Mahindra. These are just 5 things that I do not like about my Mahindra. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I do not like is the clutch transmission. Coming from a smaller front end loader with a hydrostatic transmission, I got spoiled. It is so much easier to operate the front end loader, to bush hog, to do everything with the hydrostatic transmission. You just step on the pedal to go forward, you step on the pedal backwards to go backwards, and then if you don't want to go anywhere, you just don't press it and you're in neutral. Not with this. You got to step on the clutch. You got to shift gears. When you press the clutch in, the PTO stops, so now your bush hog isn't turning. Then when you let your clutch back out, if you don't lower your RPMs down to low, then you run the risk of breaking shear pins. So that is just a personal preference. Some people like the clutch transmission, some people like the hydrostatic. I personally don't think I would buy another tractor without the hydrostatic just because I'm spoiled. The second thing I don't like is these mirrors. I use mirrors all the time and I love them. But it would be so much better if the mirror was inside the tractor up here, just like it is in your vehicle when you're driving it. I didn't think I minded these initially, but when you are bush hogging next to the woods, these mirrors reach out and grab everything. And then what happens is they fold up against the cab like that, and then your doors don't open. You can stop what you're doing, turn your PTO off, lower the RPMs, get out on the other side, walk around, pull this out, get it reset so you can continue. It's a frustration factor is what it is more than anything else. The first time I hit a limb with this mirror right here, I didn't realize I hit it. It knocked the mirror off, fell on the ground. I ran over it with the bush hog and it shattered it into a million pieces. I ordered a new one. It was $92. It would be so much better if they were inside. The third thing I don't like about this tractor is the air conditioner won't keep up during peak summer. We're in Georgia. It gets extremely hot and extremely humid. And 95% of the time when I'm in the tractor in the summer, it's because I'm out bush hogging. After about 30 minutes of running the AC and the bush hog simultaneously, the temp meter is completely pegged out. So you have to turn off the air conditioner and then you have to open up the doors and ride with the doors open. Well, what's the point of having a cab tractor if you can't run the AC? Now, if you're just doing front end loader work, you're not operating the PTO at 540, it's not that bad of a drain. But when you tax it by running both simultaneously, it just can't keep up. So I'm wondering if it's a 45 horsepower tractor that just doesn't have enough horsepower to run both of them simultaneously for extended periods of time, or if that's a Mahindra thing. I didn't know. So I'd be interested to know what your tractor does. So leave it in the comments below if you're having the same issues. The fourth thing that I don't like about this tractor is this cab is extremely loud. My buddy's got a tractor. It's 100 horsepower. He's got Bluetooth in his radio and it broadcasts over his speakers just like it does in your car. And he can be out there plowing his telephone rings and he can answer it, and he can just talk just like I'm talking right now. And they can hear him. They don't even realize he's on the tractor. Can't do that in here. I put a new radio in here, and I put new speakers in here. I can't hear the radio. I have to turn the radio all the way up, and you can barely hear it. When my telephone rings and I answer it, because I don't have Bluetooth, they're like, what are you doing? What is all that noise? So I got to stop. I got to turn the tractor to idle, or I got to turn the tractor off just so they can hear me. So what I've done is I got a set of work tunes that my son gave me, and I Bluetooth these to my telephone, and I listen to Pandora on this, and I can hear my telephone ring. But when it rings, I got to stop what I'm doing. But it's a shame that you've got a tractor with the cab on it and it's loud inside. I'm going to start the tractor up, and I'm going to put it at 540 PTO speed, and then I'm going to talk normal just so you can hear. That's 540 PTO right there, and I'm talking in a normal voice. You can hear how loud it is. And the last thing I don't like about this tractor are these hydraulic remotes. I've got 3 remotes, A, B, and C. A would be for your front up there if you're going to run a snow blower, a grapple bucket, a lane shark. And then B and C would be if you're going to run an implement that, needs to go in and out, go up and down, tilt left and right. A hydraulic post driver, a hydraulic wood splitter, etc. So these are what's called spring to center hydraulics. Might be kind of hard to see, but what happens is this is my center hydraulic that runs my hydraulic post driver that you guys have seen. Now, when you push this to engage it and you let it go, it springs back to neutral. If I push it to the rear and I let it go, it springs back to neutral. Every one of them, they're all spring to neutral. They do not have a detent to lock the hydraulics into. So on a more expensive hydraulic system, you would engage the hydraulics, it would snap into a detent, and it would stay engaged. Then that would allow you to operate your joystick to use your grapple bucket or your snow blower, whatever attachment you had up there. But because they're spring to center, you cannot hold it in the engaged position so the hydraulics are flowing and operate your joystick simultaneously and drive. So it's very frustrating. If you're doing the hydraulic post driver in the back or a hydraulic log splitter, you got to have 2 people. One person inside the tractor holding the lever engaged, and then one person in the back operating the hydraulics back there in the back. So I've had this tractor for almost a year. I put just over 141 hours on it. I've done a service on it, and I have given it an honest opinion. These are just items that I do not like on it. You owe it to yourself, if you are in the market for a tractor, to look at every manufacturer tractor and to look at the options that those manufacturers offer. A lot of features that are on this tractor are options on other tractors. So don't just buy a tractor based on hearsay. There's wants versus needs. And you need to buy a tractor that checks all the marks for everything that your farm needs, not necessarily what you want. If you can afford it and you want it, that's one thing, but most of us can't afford it. We have to buy what we can afford, and I still stand by Mahindra. I would look at another one if I was gonna be upgrading to a tractor. I just think there were some things that I would look at differently. When you buy a tractor, I had never had any experience with rear hydraulics before, and I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know that there's different versions of hydraulics, and I would not have this type of hydraulics. The spring to center hydraulics does absolutely nothing. Now, if you are plowing a field and you have road wheels on your plow, and you were plowing your field, and then you need to engage your road wheels to travel down the street to another field and then disengage your road wheels to get your plow back in the ground, that's perfect. That's what they're made for. But to actually engage them and leave them engaged so that you can operate your joystick, they don't work for that. So it's very frustrating when you have to have a second person when you want to do something. And in my application, I could never use a grapple bucket up here because, again, you can't hold the hydraulics on and operate the joystick simultaneously. So kind of defeats the purpose of having hydraulics for that aspect. So you owe it to yourself to research all manufacturers and all models of tractors and see what best suits your needs. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.